When you accomplish what the Braves did in the second half of last season, you set the bar impossibly high. 18 games above 500. The defending champs could do with a little bit more post All-Star break magic as they chase down a fifth consecutive National League East title. Welcome into Battery Power, Cory McCartney, along with Grant McAuley. And Grant, I hope you're well rested after the All-Star break, because it's right back to what figures to be one of the game's best division battles in the pursuit of the Mets.
It definitely is. And we're going to see these two teams, pretty much go head to head very, very soon here within the next month. As we turn the calendar to the month of August, we have 9 meetings on the slate between these two clubs in the first couple of weeks of that month. So when you come off the trade deadline, it's going to be right into the head-to-head battle. And as we talked about, when these two teams met right before the All-Star break, there was a lot still to be decided. And that is still very much the case as we begin the second half.
So we handed out our first half awards the last time out. As we turn our attention to the second half, what's your biggest question for this team coming out of the break?
I think it's going to be the consistency factor. That's what you want to see from the Braves. They've done such a great job since the 1st of June. A 14-game winning streak goes a long way towards reversing your fortunes, but I think we've seen the Braves do a much better job of simply going out there, winning series, and playing consistent baseball. And they've gotten it from different aspects, whether it be the starting pitching that has really, I think, looked a lot better over the past month and a half, or whether it's been the offense showing signs of life and getting some big performances from key players. So consistency is the word that I look for with this Atlanta Braves club. I mean, they underperformed in the first half last year. They underperformed in the first couple of months this year, but that has changed a lot. And if they're able to continue to do that while the bar was set very high last season, I think that they have a chance to have everything that they want right out in front of them yet again here in 2022.
So I think it's fair to wonder whether Dansby Swanson can keep playing at a level that we've never consistently seen out of him, and how rookies Michael Harris II and Spencer Strider are going to, deal with the eventual setbacks that come for all rookies. We saw Spencer Strider last time out before the break. Things didn't go especially his way. But I think at the top of my list, and I wrote about this a little bit more on Battery Power this week, is wondering when we're going to see the version of Ronald Acuna Jr. that we're used to seeing. I mean, the flashes have been there, and there's nothing wrong with showing some patience for a guy coming off the injury that he's coming from. And frankly, I will couch this by saying hitting 19% above league average is nothing to scoff at, but we've consistently seen this phenom at average 145 weighted run created plus the last 4 seasons. His rate numbers are still elite when you're talking about the hard hit rates, the barrel rates, the exit velocity, even if they are down a little bit from what you expect from the norm from him. But I think the thing that stuck out most to me is the relative struggles with pitches that he's historically just mashed. I mean, the average against four-seamers is down 40 points. The average against cutters is down 130 points when you look at those year-over-year numbers. The slugging percentage against both those pitches is down over 200 points each. I think there maybe was some hope when you looked at the home run derby that, okay, the free swinging nature of this, the big stage, maybe this is the opportunity where he's going to just bust out and just put on a show in front of everybody. I know he didn't make it out of the first round against Pete Alonso, but think about that 472-foot home run he had. Only 5 other guys have ever hit a ball completely out of Dodger Stadium, and you're talking about one of the oldest parks in all of Major League Baseball. So maybe that's the spark. Obviously, he carried that into that leadoff double, leading that to that rally there for the National League in the All-Star game. But I think, Grant, the big factor for me here is the Braves performed this well and looked like one of the best offenses in baseball without a guy in Acuna running on all cylinders. And I think that's why him doing this is my, I think, biggest question for the second half, what he's able to provide, because that could be the equalizer for this team.
Yeah, let me talk on a lot of those different points, but let's start with Ronald Acuna Jr. because I do believe that's where the Braves offense does historically get its spark. And when it's running at its absolute best, he is typically at his absolute best. But, I know a lot of people looked at it. Maybe he just kind of wilted in the home run derby, didn't show up and didn't put up a big performance. I mean, the guy hit 19 home runs, and I don't know what the plan was for the way he was being pitched, but I don't think I'd ever thought about a BP pitching performance being necessarily good or bad or really even indifferent. But I don't feel like he was really set up for success with the execution of a lot of the placement of those pitches, if the point is to hit a bunch of home runs. That aside, I thought that the 19 home runs he hit, the way that he hit them, and the fact that, we've been talking about, particularly with the rates, is this a launch angle thing? And I do think it's a launch angle thing because he's hitting the ball hard, but he's hitting the ball on the ground more so this year than he has in the past. So once he's able to get that lift going again, as they talked about multiple times in the home run derby, I mean, this is a guy that, he came in with 8 home runs, and that's not impressive. And you wonder why a guy with 8 home runs and a half is in a home run derby. But then you realize that this guy is much more than just the 8 home runs he hit in the first half. And he does average what the longest distance for home runs hit by any hitter in the big leagues. And that's something but you want to see it more frequently. And I do think that once he makes that adjustment and once he does click, there is going to be that tear. And hopefully that tear is going to look a little bit more like, say, the first half of 2021 when he was on an MVP trajectory. And it's funny, you mentioned this. I've seen it a lot on Twitter and social media. Ronald Acuna Jr. struggles make him an above league average player, even when he's at his worst. And that's something to keep in mind. I mean, the bar has been set incredibly, ridiculously, hilariously high because of what he has done over the first 4 years of his career. But that's all in there. It's not like he's been outworked. It's not like he came back in bad shape. It's not like he came back not prepared for this. It's just the everyday grind when you come off of a major injury and when you miss significant time of doing the thing that you've done. It is going to take, I think, a little while to get back for it or from it. But I feel like he has taken all of the necessary steps, and we're going to continue to see him move forward and get closer to that player with the more and more and more reps he gets. And the good thing is, even though he's had a couple of little ticky-tack injuries that have kept him out of the lineup for 3, 4, 5 days at a time, he has been able to get out there, be healthy, be out in right field, and right where the Braves need him, which I think is in the leadoff spot. And he is going to find his way back to the level that he was, because he is simply too good to not find his way back there. And I know it's all in there. And I think that the adjustment with the launch angle is going to be what unlocks this power barrage that Ronald Acuna Jr. is more than capable of supplying the Braves.
And it's important to note there, his launch angle into the first half of the season was the lowest it's been at any point across his major league season. So maybe that home run derby, even though it wasn't what everyone wanted to see results wise, is what unlocks all of that. Now, Fangraphs has the Braves with a 97.8% chance of making the postseason, which is very good, but they have a 35% chance of winning the division, which is not nearly as good. Those 12 games against the Mets are huge, but what could be even more important, Grant, is what happens the rest of the schedule. The Mets will play 29 of their remaining games versus teams with losing records. The Braves have 20. That 9-game swing could end up being huge, and it's all the more important that the Braves win those games that you're supposed to win. So on paper, that means that you win series like you have coming this weekend against the Angels. Mike Trout goes into the series on the IL. He could return. That team has dropped 12 of the last 14 games for the first game of this 3-game series, Grant. A daunting matchup, no matter how you want to paint it. Shohei Ohtani on the mound for the Angels.
Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting ticket, that's for sure. We've never seen Shohei Ohtani show up at Truist Park, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting down there and seeing what he has in store. But you're right. For the Braves, the job is win the series. And Shohei Ohtani, and I think this has been true of Mike Trout over the years, those guys need a little bit of help from the rest of that Angels club, and that simply hasn't been the case over the last month and a half. After a hot start, they really fell on hard times and have not been a good club, and that's really what the Braves need to do, is beat the teams they're supposed to. And as we get through the end of this month, the Braves schedule is going to ratchet up. It's going to get a lot harder. And there's an 11-game road trip that's waiting for him that includes 5 games against the New York Mets in 4 days. It also includes a stop at Fenway Park, which is typically a challenge. And you got to face the Marlins, which is a club that the Braves have had their way with, I think, more times than not over the past few years. But those series and those games always seem to be a little bit contentious. And there always seems to be a little bit more of a rivalry built into that, which is a lot of fun. But again, an 11-game road trip is going to be one of the big challenges we see for the Braves as the calendar turns to the month of August. And I'm going to be really fascinated to see what happens on August the 2nd or by August the 2nd as far as the trade deadline is concerned. I know we're going to talk about this as it gets closer, but the Braves have a chance to add. The Mets have a chance to add before those two clubs meet for that 5-game series. It could look a little bit different. It could feel a little bit different, but 12 head-to-head matchups, 9 of them in the month of August, and then 3 right at the end of the season. It's going to be exciting. And I think that these are two clubs that very, very much want this division. Yeah, they want to go to October. Yes, the Braves have a hold on a wild card spot. Yes, even if the teams flip-flop, the Mets should be in pretty good position to get that top wild card spot as well. But neither of those two teams wants to go through that when they could win the division, which is the goal. And as the Braves have said, and many of the players and Brian Snitker as well, we want to win it all, but it all starts with winning the East.
On the topic of Ohtani, by the way, only 3 Braves have ever faced him before. Matt Olson obviously getting the brunt of those when they faced off in the AL West when he was with the A's. Olson hit 0.77 against him with 6 strikeouts. But on a positive note, when Ohtani's at the plate, he's hitless in 22 plate appearances against current Brave pitchers, including 0-4 against Friday's starter, Charlie Morton. Regardless, though, Shohei Ohtani figures to be worth the price of admission. The Braves will also throw Kyle Wright on Saturday, Ian Anderson on Sunday. And while they're playing the Angels, the Mets have the Padres followed by the Yankees Mookie. So a chance for the Braves to make things that much more interesting in the National League East. Make sure you're coming along with the ride with us all season long here on Battery Power TV. So turn on those notifications, get those alerts each and every time we drop a new episode, and also tune into 92.9 The Game on Sunday nights. You can find Grant and myself on From the Diamond. Until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon, Braves country. All right, man, that was good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.